how to use a staple gun. I can definitely help you with that. You know, it's actually not supposed to be very hard. Even if you're not like the biggest, strongest person, it should still be pretty easy for you to use a staple gun. So let's just run through one real quickly. I'll show you how to load the staples into it and a little technique to make it work properly. Let's get started. So there's a couple of different kinds. There's this style here, more commonly. There's that guy. It's probably the one you're dealing with, and they're, you know, pretty heavy. But they both operate in more or less the same way. So in this style here, that's got like a little pinch mechanism that I pinch, and then you pull out, and you can actually see there's a little bit of staple left from last time. And in both cases, those staples are pointing in the direction that you ultimately want to send that staple. So that one there, we only had, I don't know, 10 staples left in it. That's not enough for the job that we're going to do. So let's go ahead and crack out these T50 staples. There's a bunch of different kinds. You know, these ones are T50 that are a 1/2 inch long. I think you'll find in most cases, in almost every case, T50. Just get T50 staples. If you need specifically short ones, bear that in mind. But these are what I would call the most common size 1/2 inch. All right, so let's see if I can fit this in here. Oftentimes they make the barrel of this mechanism just long enough to receive a full one of these, and they have as well in this case. So there we go. So I pull this out as far as possible. Now you can see that I'm making spring contact right away. Close it all the way. Sometimes with tools, you can't be delicate, right? You have to give it a little force there, and it clicks shut. So now we're ready to staple. We'll talk about that one in just a second. First, let's go ahead and load this one up. This is probably the one that you have, so we'll talk about it. So it's the same idea here, except it's not like a squeeze and pull. There's a little hook, so you push in, lift, and pull. That's the mechanism that you use to remove that. And we've got a couple of staples left in there from last time. Same thing. What size staples does this one take? Wouldn't you know it? T50 as well. So we take these, make sure the pointy end is pointed in the direction that you're hoping to poke a couple holes in. Now this one is like, it's not difficult at all, but this little piece on the end is conspicuously shaped like a staple. Align it in the same direction as the staples which you've just inserted into this. Now, if you put too many staples in here, you're not going to be able to close this mechanism. So that's something that you might have done and had a problem with. If you just start with one full cartridge from your package, what you'll find is it's the perfect size to allow you to still be able to close the mechanism. Now we have 2 fully loaded staplers. Let's talk about how to use these in a way which is easy for you. I happen to have, okay, this guy's actually pretty light duty, so we'll use him first as our example. So the staples come out here. There are arrows. Pay attention to that. You don't want to put staples in the wrong place, that's for sure. That's it. We've applied a staple. Let's put in one more. There we go. Okay. So this one here, same thing. I'll tell you, that takes 3 times as much strength as that other one here. The tip to use this is all in your angle of attack. If it's a funny angle and the stapler itself is standing up like this, like I'm trying to staple this on here, and so I do one of these maneuvers, and then I try to squeeze, it's actually really hard. I'm super strong and everything, and I could still barely do that. But what would help a lot is if I would put the stapler flat on the surface that I'm attempting to staple it to. Even, look at this, I'm holding this up in the air all loosey-goosey. It's kind of hard to hold it like this, and even still, super easy, one-handed. Even if you have to use 2 hands, let's talk about that for a second. So you get the thing on there the way you want it. That's where we want it. So steady it with one hand. You're going to use all your strength and leverage with your other hand. This one's just keeping the stapler where we want it. You come in with your, for me, I would use my dominant hand here, and you could even be on a bad angle a little bit, but better if you're not. Try to position yourself somewhat that you can use a little bit of your body leverage so that I can kind of maybe just use my body weight and lean down slightly on that, and it's going to make it a lot easier. So it's not just about becoming stronger. Like, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt to do that, but that's how you load staples into a staple gun, have a little bit more success when you're using them. There's one more thing I want to show you here. Look at all these staples. I got to get rid of these things. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you 2 ways that I'm not going to do that. If these are the tools that you're reaching to, toss them aside. These are the wrong ones. We're not going to use those. You know, it would be really good. That one would be good. Not that guy. Stay put. Okay, so here would be a couple of really good options to use if I'm going to remove these. So first of all, let's just get rid of that because that's in the way. So look at all these staples here. The best tool to use would be side cutters, and the reason why is because they have a rounded profile. I'm not going to cut, I'm simply going to grab a hold of the staple and I'm going to rotate it with leverage. You can lean it back and forth, you can do it side to side. I'll do the same thing once more with linesman's pliers. Same thing, you're not trying to cut it or anything like that. You just simply grab a hold of it and lean side to side, and that's how you remove staples. It was pointed out to me, and maybe you were noticing it as well, that those staples are standing proud of the surface. Is that a technique thing? And if you were to use the stapler, and no, proud of the surface. So if I get it up on its edge there, what about that? No, still proud here. As you can see, even on edge like that, hopefully you can see, what I would need would be staples which are less long, or I would need a surface which I'm stapling that is less dense, and that would result in the stapler being able to successfully bury the staple. It would be normal when I'm doing like flooring, for example. It's where you would use a heavy-duty staple gun a lot, might be doing some flooring work. And it would be normal to encounter this, and you would normally then walk around with your trusty basher. Oh, that one flattened out. That's pretty normal to have to do that. And there's also one more thing. I wanted to talk about this because, you know what? Most people don't reach towards side cutters and linesman's pliers to remove. Wouldn't you use a standard screwdriver? Isn't that something that you might do? You know what? You could. You could do it, and with a very, careful hand, I could get that in there, and I could probably pry that up. But you know what the problem with that is? If you're not really careful, and you go and, I'm going to pry this guy up, right? And if I leverage off the surface, you mar the surface. Now, maybe that matters to, this random piece of plywood. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, go to town. Just, send the standard screwdriver in there all day. But if you're dealing with the kind of surface that you don't want to leave defects on when you're done pulling these staples out, that grabbing and rolling technique with side cutters or linesman's pliers is probably going to be a little bit more successful. Well, I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below. It would help me a bunch, and I'll see you soon.